feel like I have to be this. Or can it's so weird making this thing while there is another human being present nearby. It's okay. This is the thing. It's more comfortable making these things when I'm in the middle of the crowd compared to when I am just being witnessed by one or two people. But I think they're away now. I heard some footsteps. I think the person has gone. And sometimes I just think that maybe this is what it's like to be normal. To be affected by the presence of other people. Maybe that's a normal person sort of thing. And maybe in a way, I'm normal. There's some, you see, it's broken again, like the two others. And look at how intricate. And this as well. Wait, you don't see. You can't see. Why is it the lighting? Why is it doing that? But now you can see if it's further. So I previously thought that these letters are real people letters. Letters that have been exchanged or written for someone that is some kind of close, that this person has a close relationship with. But then later, upon further exploration, found out that these are fictionalized letters. And according to this, at least, there is no portrait of the person who made this, but there is a portrait of that person's father. So this is him. Maybe they look a little bit closer to one another. We'll never know with these people. And for me, these kinds of forms of literature are interesting because the letters, doesn't matter if it's someone from the 1500s, 1700s, 2000s maybe. 2000s it's quite close. So I was there. So I like it better when I was not born yet. Or 1950s or something like this. I like these forms of, because these days, especially these days, everything is available on Google search. Almost everything. In some other places, you can easily harvest information. But when it comes to how life felt to a specific person, only them could tell you that. Only them could tell you that. So that feels more interesting to me than a lot of other things. So, I will read you one letter. And one thing about, have you encountered that? What's Have you encountered that one quote that says something along the lines of, it is often that fiction is more honest something like that? I'm sorry. I feel really affected by that one person who is, and I don't wanna check if they are still there. I kinda wanna check and peek, but I cannot. They might notice that I noticed them. Anyway, I'm gonna try my best. So I might ask more patience from you than the usual. Because this is really something that made me walk out of the house and go back to this place. Because I wanna speak about it. Fitzosborne's letters. September 1730. I entirely approve of your design, but whilst I rejoice in the hope of seeing enthusiasm thus successfully attacked in her strongest and most formidable holds, I would claim your mercy for her in another quarter. And after having expelled her from her religious dominions, let me entreat you to leave her in the undisturbed enjoyment of her civil possessions. To own the truth, I look upon enthusiasm in all other points but that of religion to be a very necessary turn of mind, as indeed it is a vein which nature seems to have marked with more or less strength in the tempers of most men. No matter what the object is, whether business, pleasures, or the fine arts, whoever pursues them to any purpose must do so con amore. And enamoratos, of every kind, are all enthusiasts. There is, indeed, a certain heightening faculty which universally prevails through our species, and we are all of us, perhaps, in our several favorite pursuits, pretty much in the circumstances of the renowned knight of La Mancha, when he attacked the barber's brazen basin for Mambrino's golden helmet. What is Tulis? It's in Latin, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna pronounce this correctly. Alicid immensum infinitum, which he professes to aspire after in oratory, but a piece of true rhetorical quixotism. Yet never I will venture to affirm, would he have glowed with so much eloquence had he been warmed with less enthusiasm? I am persuaded, indeed, that nothing great or glorious was ever performed where this quality had not a principal concern. And as our passions add vigor to our actions, enthusiasm gives spirit to our passions. I may add, too, that it even opens and enlarges our capacities. Accordingly, I have been informed that one of the great lights of the present age never sits down to study till he has raised his imagination by the power of music. For this purpose, he has a band of instruments placed near his library, which play till he finds himself elevated to a proper height, upon which he gives a signal, and they instantly cease. But those high conceits which are suggested by enthusiasm contribute not only to the pleasure and perfection of the fine arts, but to most other effects of our action and industry. To strike this spirit, therefore, out of the human constitution, to reduce things to their precise philosophical standard, would be to check some of the main wheels of society, and to fix half the world in useless apathy. For if enthusiasm did not add an imaginary value to most of the objects of our pursuit, if fancy did not give them their brightest colors, they would generally perhaps wear an appearance too contemptible to excite desire. Wearied we should lie down in death, this cheat of life would take no more. If you thought fame but empty breath, I, Phyllis, but a perjured whore. In a word, this enthusiasm for which I am pleading is a beneficent enchantress, who never exerts her magic but to our advantage, and only deals about her friendly spells in order to raise imaginary beauties or to improve real ones. The worst that can be said of her is that she is a kind deceiver and an obliging flatterer. Let me conjure you, then, good Cleander, not to break up her useful enchantments, which thus surround us on every side, but spare her harmless deceptions in mere charity to mankind.